Welcome back to The Right Slant. Today, we're diving into how gun owners in Wyoming can legally get their firearms back after they've been confiscated. We're going to cover the most common reasons firearms are taken, the exact legal steps to recover them, what the courts require, and 2 real Wyoming cases that show how judges actually handle these situations. And most importantly, we'll walk through the paperwork and deadlines you need to know to avoid permanent loss. In Wyoming, your firearm can be confiscated for several reasons. Arrest involving a firearm, even if the charge doesn't end in a conviction. Domestic violence protection orders under Wyoming Stat Section 7-3-510. A judge can order firearm surrender when issuing a protective order. Extreme intoxication or mental health holds, where officers temporarily secure firearms during a welfare check. Evidence in a criminal case, where your gun becomes part of an ongoing investigation. Prohibited person status, such as a federal 922 disqualifier. Today, we'll focus on how to get your property returned once the legal reason for holding it has ended. Before we go deeper, tap like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another Second Amendment breakdown from The Right Slant. Wyoming treats seized firearms as personal property, and the rules for getting them back come from a mix of state statute and court procedure. Step 1. Confirm the firearm is no longer needed as evidence. Law enforcement cannot return a firearm until prosecutors clear it under Wyoming Stat Section 7-2-104, which governs the release of seized property. Call the county attorney's office and ask directly whether the firearm has been released for return. Step 2. Confirm you are not legally prohibited. Under both Wyoming and federal law, you must not be convicted of a felony under a qualifying restraining order, prohibited due to mental adjudication, or convicted of certain domestic violence misdemeanors. If you are under a temporary protection order, it must be dissolved or expired. Step 3. File a motion for return of property. If the agency refuses to voluntarily release your firearm, Wyoming courts allow you to file a motion for return of property under Rule 41 of the Wyoming Rules of Criminal Procedure or as a civil petition. Your motion must include description of the firearm, date seized, agency holding it, statement that the reason for confiscation has ended, proof you are not prohibited from possessing firearms. Most judges require a hearing where the prosecutor can object or agree. Step 4. Pick up the firearm with ID. If the court grants the motion, you'll receive a release order. Bring state ID, the release order, any required background check form the agency insists on. Most Wyoming law enforcement agencies still perform a federal mixed check before return. Case example 1, Erickson v. State, 2022 Wyoming 45. Facts: a man convicted on a misdemeanor asked for his seized firearms back after sentencing. Outcome: the Wyoming Supreme Court held that the district court could deny return only if the applicant was legally prohibited or if the gun was still valid evidence. Takeaway: judges cannot deny a firearms return simply because they don't want to. They must rely on statutory disqualifiers. Case example 2, in Re-Property Belonging to Hall, 2019 Wyoming 12. Facts: firearms were seized during an investigation, but charges were later dropped. The owner filed a motion for return. Outcome: the court ruled that once charges are dismissed, the government must return the firearm unless the owner is otherwise prohibited. Takeaway: dismissed case equals strong right to reclaim your gun. These cases matter because they give Wyoming gun owners a clear precedent. When the legal reason for holding the firearm ends, the state has no authority to keep it. Domestic violence orders. If your firearm was seized due to a domestic violence protection order, you must wait until the order expires or is terminated. Wyoming courts follow federal law strictly here. Mental health holds. If firearms were taken during a welfare check, you can usually retrieve them directly from the agency, unless a court ordered a mental adjudication. In that case, federal law blocks returns unless the disqualifier is removed. If you now live in another state, some Wyoming agencies will not ship firearms. You may be required to pick it up in person or have a licensed FFL receive it. Wyoming remains one of the most firearm-friendly states in America, but that doesn't mean your rights are automatic. Document everything, act quickly, and if you receive pushback from law enforcement, file the motion. Wyoming case law is on your side. Thanks for watching The Right Slant. If this helped you understand Wyoming's firearm return process, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another state breakdown. Drop a comment telling us which state you want covered next. We read everyone.